Hello, hello. This is your host, Sheraz Ahmed, ready to kick off another bite-sized episode of the Crypto Valley Association podcast. Special thank you to Seva Bank for supporting this initiative as they pursue their mission to redefine finance for the new economy. Now let's discover together the growing trends of this fast-moving space and try to shed some light on the mysteries it contains. Today, we are joined by Shirly Valge, Chief Operating Officer of the Velas Network, an artificial intuition-empowered delegated proof-of-stake blockchain and ecosystem. Well, that is definitely a mouthful, and I cannot wait to dig deeper. So let's dive straight into the world of blockchain ecosystems. Hello, Shirley. How are you doing today?
Hello, Sheraz. I'm doing very well. Thank you for inviting me over to your show, and I cannot wait to start with our interview.
Yes, likewise. Thank you for participating. I mean, how about we start off by you giving us a little bit of insight about how you first got into the blockchain space?
Well, coming originally from Estonia, I've actually been using services on distributed ledger technology for 20 years without knowing what the actual underlying infrastructure was. And whereas by now, 99% of public services in Estonia are on TLT. And the only thing you can't do is getting married and divorce. So technology is kind of running in my blood. And 6 years ago, I started my first entrepreneurial endeavors. And with that, I also started to look into the investment space. I attended investment meetups and camps to get to know about my opportunities, how to enter the space. But the barriers were relatively high back then to get involved in the stocks or shares or real estate market. And also the yields were not that attractive for someone like me that always has strived for more than average. So I had read and heard about Bitcoin and blockchain here and there, but it wasn't until I met my good friend now and the founder of Paxful.com. It's a global cryptocurrency trading platform from 2015, who kind of helped and mentored me to enter the space. So I started my first investments early 2017 after learning the technology for half year, like in the daily space, like learning all the news and technologies and keeping my finger on the pulse. And then, yeah, I made my first investments. I remember people thinking I'm crazy. But after half a year, it turned out to be a good outcome. I stayed in the space and I never stopped learning. And for personal reasons, I moved to Zug November 2017 and actually didn't know it before, but then it turned out to be the hotspot, the Crypto Valley. And I immediately saw a chance to start a career still at a relatively early stage emerging industry. And this is where my career started in the crypto space. So I first was a sales and marketing in a mining investment firm, which had its actual mining farm by the Zurich Lake. And after that, I started with Velas right before it got incorporated. So it was like 2.5 years ago.
Wow.
Now, when I started at Velas.
That's great. And you mentioned, you're always learning. And I think as we learn, we become crazier, even if the people you met believe that you were crazy back then, they probably still believe you're crazy.
Yes, I feel like I'm in some crypto bubble here. And whenever I go back to Estonia, they don't really grasp what's going on here in Zug and Switzerland versus in other countries where it's not so concentrated around this one industry. Maybe.
Yeah, and there's a lot of opportunity for further adoption, right? And it's incredible to hear about the journey you've been through and where you've landed now, being at Velas. And I said some very big and complicated words to explain a little bit about what Velas is doing. Maybe you can simplify that for our audience and tell us more about Velas.
Yes, so Velas stands for Virtual Expanding Learning Autonomous System. It's actually rooted from coinpayments.net, which is a payment processing platform from 2013. It's now the biggest in the world, having 3,000 different currencies on its platform with 3 million active users. And the idea of Velas chain started from integrating all these different tokens on their platform. And they saw what are the bottlenecks and what are the issues out there. And they started developing a chain from the scratch. And shortly thereafter, they rebranded the whole project to Velas. And we got incorporated 4th of July 2019. So we just recently celebrated 2 years from the incorporation date. And yeah, we're based in the Crypto Valley in Zug, but the team is quite global. I think we're covering pretty much every continent. And we grew quite fast. We started with 3 people working fully on the Velas project. And in 1 year, we grew 10 times. And by now, we're like a team of 60 people working full time on Velas. And the idea was to apply artificial intuition, which is a term, like marketing term for decentralized artificial intelligence on the network to balance the security and the transaction throughput and the centralization fact that we want to keep as decentralized as possible and secure the network from hacks by applying AI on its consensus. So the AI part is still in the final stages of the research. It has been going on now for 1.5 years with our AI partners in Moscow, who are also the official advisors for artificial intelligence for the Russian government. It's a very strong team. We recently migrated onto a Solana code base. So we're actually the fastest EVM chain in the world because we also added a Ethereum virtual machine support, meaning ERC20 projects can run on Velas chain and benefit from the instant transactions, from extremely low transaction fees. We're at $0.0001 right now, and up to 75,000 transactions per second, which are not limited to software. So it's just limited to hardware. So I think we're the best performing blockchain out there right now. And yeah, we're also building in-house products on top of our chain because we want to present how easy it can be to use decentralized products and services for anyone with any technical skill set. So we're basically merging centralized user friendliness with the decentralized technology.
Wow, yeah, that's wonderful. We'll definitely get into more about the AI part and also the dApps that you're creating decentralized applications. I mean, but maybe we stay on the Velas and Velas chain to start off with. I mean, what differentiates you with regards to this from other chains that exist out there?
So the difference is, right now we're still delegated proof of stake, but once we apply the AI, then it will learn from the behavior of the network. It will apply the necessary parameters on the blocks, or let's say there is an attack on the network. It will slow down the performance to mitigate these attacks, and it's not static as other blockchains out there. So it constantly. This is what we mean by expanding. It's either slowing down or speeding up the transactions and behaves at the best interest of the network. So whatever it is needed for the network, it will apply the necessary parameters. And yeah, well, if we want to dig deeper to the AI part, then we need to have another podcast with our AI expert in it. But this is like on the high level what the AI will do.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I mean, AI powered delegated proof of stake. I mean, it's definitely something that is much deeper, and I would say beyond some of the things that are currently out there.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how that develops further. And then if we speak about one of the projects that you're ongoing within Velas, BitOrbit, to decentralized social network. I mean, with everything going on nowadays with regards to censorship, the data of users and all of this, I mean, it seems like something that would be really welcomed by communities. I mean, tell us more about this initiative.
Yeah, exactly. So especially what we saw with the recent deplatformizing Trump and all the censorship that is happening now in YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Google ads even are blocking and selecting what they should show and what not, as well as the content ownership. So these big monopolies like Facebook and WhatsApp, and also the privacy is a big issue, of course. They pretend to be privacy respecting, but the reality is they're not. And we're hearing more and more about data breaches. And people also have learned more about their rights thanks to the GDPR rules and regulations. And Velas is now, in a couple of weeks, launching a decentralized social media platform. We changed the concept in between a bit because the market moves very fast, and we wanted to be adaptive with the trends. So we changed the concept in between, and now we're launching the BitOrbit app, which is targeted to content creators and influencers. Giving them back power over their own data and content, and allowing them to monetize their content with integrated crypto wallets in the app. And it's all decentralized, so there is no platform fees and there is no censorship. There will be an AI tool applied, which excludes the illicit content, but other than that, there is no censorship. So there is a freedom of speech, so to say. And content creators will be able to decide if they want to have their content publicly, privately, or paid. So it's integrated with the Velas account with one-click payments. And I think it's a breakthrough in the decentralized social media space. Definitely. Basically, it will be like a hybrid of OnlyFans and Instagram, Snapchat solution, but on a decentralized blockchain.
Wow. Okay, that's very, very interesting. And I mean, so are you planning the payment side, right? I mean, which is like giving back to the users, giving back to these influencers, the contributors to the platform? Are you planning to reward them with Velas tokens? I mean, I know that you have your own token. Is there something planned around that? Maybe you can tell us more about this side of the platform, and maybe also the tokenomics of the cryptocurrency that you have.
Yeah, we have the Velas coin because it's a native coin of the Velas chain. And this will be one of the payment currencies there. But we are interoperable. So we will be able to process transactions on any currency because we have the wallets out there, Velas wallets, since 1.5 years. And these are multi-currency wallets. We have an easy bridge with Ethereum already, but we're also launching a Velas Vault, which allows any currency out there, including Bitcoin, to be wrapped on the Velas chain and transacted at the attributes Velas has to offer, like instant transaction speed at 0.001 transaction fee, and at the scalability that Velas offers. So we're pretty much enabling any currency to be transacted on the Velas chain. But the transaction fees, of course, are charged in Velas currency. So basically, this is the business model that Velas coin value is behind in the Velas blockchain, as the platforms and products have no fee to use. They're free of charge.
Okay, well, it's very, very, very interesting. And I mean, you mentioned creating the vault and all these various projects and initiatives. I mean, it's got to be what we love about the space is the ability to really see all these opportunities and capitalize on them. But then there must be that kind of dual-edged sword of really like doing all of these things. Are we able to really kind of focus and concentrate on the ones that are going well, the ones that might be picking up traction? I mean, how have you seen in your experience, like being so, let's say, distributed with all these different projects, how have you been able to still give focus to some of your team and to ensure that you're not spread too thin?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge of developing the infrastructure plus all these products in-house. It was a big mouthful which we took on, because if I compare all the other blockchain companies there, then some of them or most of them don't even develop their own wallets. And we wanted to present that at least some of the products we wanted to build in-house. And I think it's a good initiative. It's also what distinguishes us from others. And this is how we attract users on our network and drive up the participation in the network. And our actual goal and mission is to bring this technology to the masses. And I think by creating products which look and are in user experience, you could think they are centralized, but actually they're decentralized. I think this is the way to gain mass adoption.
That's wonderful. I mean, it's a great vision and mission, to be honest. I really can't wait to see what the future holds for Velas and all of these projects that you're working on, and maybe to kind of bounce off of that. I mean, where do you see the future of the blockchain industry as a whole, and maybe the future of Velas?
Well, I would like to think that we get a substantial market share over from Ethereum, because it's extremely seamless to shift from Ethereum to Velas chain and have all these benefits on top. And in terms of the fintech and Web3 future, I would like to hope that the data protection, it's going to be solved somehow, and that we will not see all our data flowing into these big corporates and loss of privacy. And yeah, I see that in the example of Estonia, for example, we just had one chance to start using public services on the blockchain. We didn't have an alternative way of doing it the old way, and also it was so consumer friendly, and it was better and it was more optimized. So people wanted to use these public services in the new way, in digital and on distributed ledger technology. They could enter and access them, and they can still access them 24/7 wherever they are in that world. So I see also conventional services moving the same way. They can run and operate on blockchain, but the user interface should be maximum easy to grasp.
Okay, wow, it's a beautiful vision for the future, and I really hope that some of the elements that you mentioned really do come true. I think we still have a long way to go, and there's a lot to build and to develop. So yeah, keep at it, and I'm sure we'll be able to touch base soon and see if your predictions were really true. And then as we're just slowly approaching the end of the episode, and unfortunately, I mean, I really want to thank you for your time again, Shirley, and actually give you the opportunity if you have any final words for our listeners today, any activities that might be happening, Shirley.
So as I mentioned, maybe I didn't mention, but we have announced this summer our grants program, and as well as an ecosystem investment fund. So I'm encouraging developers and teams to come and learn more about our grants program. We're giving up to $100,000 funding per project. This is basically free money to build tools for Velas ecosystem and build projects like NFT platforms or games even, or DEXs. So there are different things we would like to see on the network to be built, and it's all outlined on docs.velas.com, or just go on to velas.com, and we have a big button there, build on Velas. So feel free to check it out, and there is an application form for the teams, so we're looking to welcome them on our ecosystem.
Wonderful. Wow, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. And if you enjoyed this conversation, feel free to check out more on our website, cryptovalley.swiss, where we host plenty of events, educational material, and even provide information on how you can join our growing community. Thanks again, Shirley, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Our pleasure.
Have a
Stay
nice
tuned.
day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Stay tuned, stay safe. And until next time from the Crypto Valley in Switzerland. Bye-bye.